Hey everyone, welcome to the Above the Line live stream on a Tuesday night. We changed the date on you, so thank you for tuning in and recognizing the date change. It is a very big week in the world of motorsports, from the Monaco Grand Prix to the Indy 500 to the Coca-Cola 600. So we want to talk about it all with you. So again, thank you all for being here, and of course, joining me, we have John DeRudgeris, we've got Dom Joseph, and Adam Lucas to chat all about it. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Good?
We're doing
Bad?
simply lovely.
Simply lovely from the Max fan. We're doing okay as Ferrari fans.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right,
Okay,
Tom?
he's fine.
I mean, we've still got the record for wins, poles, and championships. So,
Bam! There it is. There it is.
And as long as you have that, you'll be okay.
got that inner Dallas Cowboy fan of me just living the past because it's all we have.
Wait. You're a Cowboys fan too?
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh.
No, the Cowboys fans live in the past.
That's the only bit of Cowboys trait I have in me.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But I'm willing to say my team isn't good.
That's okay. That's fair.
It happens.
Well,
I have no team.
I'm good, Taylor.
It's fine. It's okay.
We're all good.
It's been an up and down season for I think a lot of our kind of favorite drivers that we watch and a lot of our favorite teams that we root for. So we're riding that wave. Hopefully things are good this weekend, though. I know obviously last year, as Ferrari fans, dream weekend. We were there celebrating when Charles Leclerc won the Monaco Grand Prix, and that was pretty exciting too. So maybe something as cool this year. We don't know, but let's take it back for a second, talking about the All-Star race. North Wilkesboro, I think, in my opinion, produced a pretty exciting All-Star event, probably one of the best in years, and it was evident by Jeff Gluck's race poll. I think it ranked number 3 of the All-Star races that he has had in that, and I always kind of gauge that poll and what the fans kind of thought overall. But I guess, John, I'll throw it to you first. What were your thoughts on the All-Star race, and in particular, maybe commenting about the caution flag, the promoter's caution, if we want to kind of trickle into that territory too.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's just dive in.
Let's dive in.
Promoter's caution, I think it just needs to go away. At one, it's a good gimmick. It is. Mm-hmm. I think you need to let them race. See what happens. I know Ryan Blaney wasn't too happy with it if you've heard his audio. But I thought overall, I thought it was great. You saw multi-line racing, you saw some beating and banging, you saw the high line prevail, and you saw that this track is evolving very nicely. And it's cool to see that they've moved it from running on the bottom to the middle, now all the way to the middle to the top. Drivers pushing it really hard. I want to see it on the schedule. I don't want to see 250 laps. I want to see 400 in the middle of the afternoon, like they kept on saying. I think it's a great race.
And I think the parallels between what we've been saying about the other short track races that we've had, where it's like, just take it off the schedule or shorten the race, or like everything that we could complain about under the sun for the short track events this year, we've complained about. And we did a complete, I'm just going to say 360, sure, 360 on this one, maybe. The fan response and the product we saw was completely different and refreshing. Dom, I'm assuming maybe same take for you?
Honestly, 100% agree that it was the best short track race we've had in the next gen car era. Maybe the only exception would be last year's Food City 500, and that was just because it was the mother and father of all perfect storms to produce that race. But honestly, I thought the race was great, even though my driver came out the back end as the loser after dominating the race. It was like, it's one of those where I look back on it later Monday, like, I'm glad I was angry that he didn't win that race, because that means it was a good race. So I thought the racing was really good. I've got some critiques here and there with things that I thought would be better, but weren't. Honestly, like, I was hoping we would look at promoter's caution as, if we absolutely need it, we'll use it. Like last year, where one guy led all but one lap, or 2023, where the guy leading is half a lap ahead of everyone else. We didn't need it this year, because right before that caution came out, Bell was actively catching Joey and was going to produce a battle for the lead and most likely battle for the win. So a little upset with that, but I would honestly say this is probably the most entertaining all-star race we've had since maybe 2017 when Kyle Busch had a super restart to win it.
Agree. Adam, a question for you. You watched the truck race, correct?
I watched part of it, yes.
Part of it. Okay, so I guess from what you saw for part of the truck race, do you feel the product improved for them too? Or I know the ending was a little with Lane Riggs and that whole thing. But do you feel the truck race was fine? Yeah, short track racing, right?
Yeah, short track racing. So I mean, I was expecting something like that, especially since they really are looking for who is really the true leader in that series. It's a bunch of kids that are battling to see who's going to be top dog. So I expected that type of a finish with those guys. As for the racing, it feels like out of the 3 that they've now run since the reopening of North Wilkesboro, this one was probably number 2. The first year back using the original surface, that was a wild race. Last year's was pretty tame. This year, it left some to be desired, but all in all, I did enjoy it, and I definitely think that this should be a permanent mainstay for them. I think it should be on the ARCA schedule going forward. I think Xfinity definitely has a shot at getting something with them possibly next year. And the word around the pit area, especially before and after the race, does this track deserve a full-blown cup date? Yes, I believe it does. But you have to look. There's one little caveat. If we put it on the schedule, does it just become another track? Does it lose its mystique? Does it lose its
point I brought up yesterday? Yep.
That is something that I've thought about, especially since you did bring that up in the chat, Dom. That we were sitting on something really special and unique. Do we really want to lose all that? Tread lightly.
Yeah, and that's what you weigh, and then you weigh if we add North Wilkesboro to the schedule, what are you taking away? And we all have some theories about that. I'm going to ask Sal that. We're going to bring Sal in right now. Good to see you.
What's up, everybody? Hope everybody had a good weekend.
We had to call in the expert analyst.
Call in the expert analyst.
Oh man, I don't know if I'm the right guy, but here we are.
So if North Wilkesboro was put on the schedule, which I don't think the broadcast is going to tease it up, or I guess tee it up that heavily, if it's not going to work towards some announcement for the 2026 schedule. You can already hear the sound bites from the broadcast going into an announcement. But for you, Sal, if it were to take away one race off of the schedule, what would it take away?
I mean, I heard people talk about maybe losing dates like at tracks local to me. So like, I don't want to hear those things to give North Wilkesboro a full date. I think the track needs a full date. It makes sense after what we saw this weekend. I think it's the best, for what the racing is producing, what the car is producing. This is the best short track racing I think we've seen in a while. So yeah, as long as it doesn't interfere with at least one date at the tracks we're already going to, I think, Adam has a great point though. Okay. Like now we're going to go, does it lose the luster? And do you try to like supplant Rockingham in as that new shiny new toy that Wilkesboro used to be? Now that Wilkesboro in this hypothetical has a points paying race, on the schedule every year. So yeah, it's definitely a wild thing to think about. I don't know.
And going to Rockingham, I want it to remain a standalone event for Truck and Xfinity. There was just something so special about that. And I loved going to Mid-Ohio when it was just Truck and ARCA. I unfortunately wasn't able to get there for when Xfinity was still there, but I love those standalone events. It is a different vibe, different feel. And just even from the media center perspective of going into the media center, it feels more relaxed. So selfishly, I like those weekends a little bit more. But even too, as fans, the drivers are so like keen on making sure that they're interacting with the fans because they have that capacity, they have that time. So part of me doesn't really want Rockingham to get a Cup Series date, but I also think the racing would be really good. So we're battling things here. But anywho, but that is it with our All-Star recap. We'll move on. Talking about a little drama. I guess let's start about like the positive with IndyCar for a second, because how about Ross Schwartzman? Like, what a big story here. A rookie getting the pole for the Indy 500 hasn't been done in 42 years. incredibly impressive considering which we didn't have really high expectations for Prema. But I guess Adam, I know in our chat we were all like freaking out.
Well, first off, just looking at through the week by watching practice every day, I thought Prima was going to be on bump day. Technically,
Yeah,
I thought they'd be at that 1 hour window. They had no shot in hell at making just making it, and
right.
boom, he pulled out the laps of his life, the best 4-lap average that man has ever run.
Shout out to
So I
Alex.
mean, like, yeah, blown away completely.
Yeah, John, same. Blown
Oh,
away.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I told a few people at the beginning of this season, I'm going to be a Prima fan just because they're an Italian team. I'm Italian. It's going to be cool just to follow them through this process. And then watching him hit that first lap, and I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way. And then he hit the second one. I was like, there's a way. There's a way. And so that is just phenomenal. I mean, haven't seen it since 1983. And the odd thing with numbers in this, I don't know if you all know this, happened in 1983, and Robert Schwartzman's number is 83, which is weird number things going on there.
Happens all the time, isn't it?
The
Crazy.
numbers.
Numerology,
So wild.
They're lining up.
I was getting just so excited to see him do that in his rookie season on an oval that he's never raced at before. It's just Cinderella story in the making.
Yeah, my goodness. Now, unless anyone has anything else they want to say on the positive side for this, we can go into some of the
I will
controversy here.
I will say the craziest thing about all this is that Schwartzman had never run an oval before in his life.
That's the thing that's crazy to me.
And just goes out there and says, I'll show you what straight line speed's all about. Just cooks them. And I think the biggest thing, too, is could this just be the benefit of having a Chevrolet engine, too? I mean, obviously, Prima brought in a lot of really, really good veterans of IndyCar to help run that team from the ground up. So they've got the experience. But, you know, you can say what you want about the car. You can say what you want about the engine. Schwartzman's got to make it survive those corners. And the balls he had to get it through there and go, 232 average or 233?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. No thank you for me. But hey, huge congrats to Prima. That's incredible. And I feel like Indy needed a story like that where everyone's sitting there. It's like, well, it's either going to be Ganassi or Penske for pole. Let's see what happens. And here comes the rookies to say, hey, there's a reason why we all get to try this. So really awesome. And happy for that team.
And
there's one more positive to shout out with all this.
Oh, please do.
Through all the accidents that looked like they could have been career-ending injuries,
yes,
everybody was unscathed. Everybody's fine. Cars are rebuilt. So shout out to the safety and innovation of these cars.
And shout out too to Colton Herta and his team.
Yes.
Oh my God.
First of all, for that team to obviously they brought the backup car out, but that is you're basically just looking at a chassis, and then they just built around that chassis, rebuilding from the ground up. Herta, after taking one of the hardest wrecks of his life, to climb back in that thing and go through turn one again to try again. And just, again, they're just pumped to be in the race. So kudos to that team. That's why you never give up.
Yeah, never give up. And then also shout out to AMR safety as well. I know we talked about the safety of the cars and things like that, but I mean, AMR, they're on it whenever an incident happens, but glad all the drivers are okay. There was a big conversation about, why this is happening. A part of that conversation was the hybrid engines add extra weight to these cars and the weight distribution isn't quite great yet with all this. I did get a message from somebody who has a family member who works on an IndyCar team, and they said, quote, it's not necessarily the hybrid itself, but the distribution of the weight elsewhere because of the added weight of the hybrid. So more pressure is being added to the areas of the car that typically don't have an issue. So a lot of it is still these teams trying to figure it out, and part of it is just this is how the cars are right now. But these teams are going to push the limits of these cars. You want to win the pole for the Indy 500. That and plus the wins this week were pretty intense at the track too. So you have a combination of factors that are leading to some of these scary incidents. But again, glad all the drivers were okay. One of those drivers involved, Scotty Mack, got in a pretty scary incident. So unfortunately, he was not able to qualify, or I guess complete his qualifying in the Fast 12. Drivers that also weren't able to qualify in the Fast 12 were his two teammates. So who wants to? Yeah, I was gonna say. So Penske Scandal 2.0 here found some things on the cars that they did not like. I don't know if anyone wants to kind of dive into this. What was seen? What we think?
I just like how the storyline just continues.
It just continues to evolve.
I just loved how it just continued to intensify.
Yeah.
First, like you see the storm clouds gathering, you're like, uh-oh, what's going on? And then they cut to the shot of Will Power's team just aggressively sawing away at something at the back.
Yes.
So you're like, uh-oh, now what's going on? And then you hear the 12 and the 2 are kicked out of qualifying. Now we've got thunder and lightning. So it just keeps getting worse and worse for Team Penske. And now they're going to have a lot of work to do coming out of Indianapolis, regardless on if they win or not.
Yes.
Because, I mean, they may not want to win this race because they're going to be scrutinized to all get out, even though it's going to be the most legal car on the racetrack at that point because they're going to be all over that car looking for more stuff. But it'll be interesting, though, to see how different they run. Like, obviously, they'll be in the back, so they're already at a disadvantage. But if they're terribly slow or just bad handling, what kind of advantage was that giving them?
That's true. And was it somebody sent an article? I don't know if it was somebody in our chat or what, but Bozy had put together something that basically said this adjustment did not give them an advantage or much of an advantage at all. That's on motorsports.com. But I wanted to show you Marshall Pruitt. There's been a lot of media at the track that have been covering this in multiple different ways. I will say that just blanketly. But I wanted to show you all at least what Marshall Pruitt had on his Twitter page here. Found this on a series photo site from 2024 Indy 500. Had to pull up the exposure to see the darkened rear, and it shows the blend attenuator. The third photo is that same piece of the car in the IMS museum. So this was the portion of the car that they had an issue with, and they just didn't like. And obviously, quote unquote, I guess manipulated piece on the car was found on this and Will Powers, unfortunately. But then again, people have been saying that they saw something similar to the winning car for the Indy 500 last year. So it begs the question: one, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Two, what the hell? I don't know. I mean, here's my thing, and we can really talk about this here too. It is an issue of reputation at this point. And we see this in talking about even the 2311 lawsuit with NASCAR and the conversation that came up of the France family wanting to own a team in NASCAR. I know they already have kind of some stake in the game with IMSA, obviously. But we see the issue of Roger Penske owning the series, owning the track, owning a team. There's two big cheating scandals. And the reputation that just is crumbling now for Penske. Hate to see it, but this is tough. So I don't know. I don't know how you rebuild that at this point. I don't want CART 2.0, but my God, it's rough. It's rough.
I think the one good thing that's coming out of this is they're being penalized for it.
Yes.
Now let's at least be thankful that the owner of the sport is not able to just bend the rules and get away with it.
Now, here's the question with the penalty. Do we feel the penalty was sufficient enough? Because this is the other piece of the puzzle, John. You're like, I have something to say.
So actually, after reading specific articles and what the penalty reads, if a team fails inspection in the Fast 12, the ruling is they should not be able to place worse than 11th or 12th. They got sent to the back of the grid.
Yes.
Their strategists are gone. both teams fined $100,000. So if you want to just look at this blanketly, IndyCar changed their ruling on this specific situation to a more severe punishment.
Mm-hmm.
So the question, I've seen this. I put out a video. It's like a 7-minute video on TikTok, probably about an hour ago.
Love that.
And kind of going through this whole thing. And there are people saying that Joseph Newgarden and Will Power shouldn't even be attempting to run. They shouldn't even be in the 500. There are people saying that their wins from last year shouldn't be even counted. Or I guess Newgarden's win. There are other people that are like, you know what, it's a little bit harsh. They should just do the normal ruling on this and they should start 11th and 12th. I like the harsher punishment just because it saves their butt a little bit. They're like, you know what, we're going to get a little bit harder on this, but that's not going to change the overall landscape of what happened and this whole bigger picture here. Because I don't know what the right answer is on that, but I think it does seem a little bit harsh, but I see why they did it though, because they want to kind of build that, you know, like you said, Taylor, build that reputation or not lose it, but kind of build it up a little bit by the ruling.
And if you think about it too, if you gave Penske the normal slap on the wrist that every other team gets, to some of the other teams who are kind of sick of just, I don't know, whatever it is from Penske, it doesn't seem like enough. You have the fan base shouldn't be taken into account when considering penalties. It should be an in-sanction rule, but you're going to have the fan base that says it's not enough. The fan base it's still saying it's not enough, right? But I think going outside what the rules state to make it more severe sends a message. And I don't know, like just hearing the press conferences, all the drivers' opinions, like Sal, I don't know if you listened to any of the driver opinions, but it's
been interesting to kind of listen to this as someone who very much so is more rooted in the oval racing side of the world from NASCAR. And I agree with you though on one thing, and that is that the turning up the level of severity for the penalty is necessary to make that example, especially because of the Penske like tie to the sport. If you kicked it under the rug, you'd have more of an issue than you already have. To me, you know, listening to the drivers kind of talk about it and the media talk about it, it's wild that so much emphasis is put on a cheating scandal where in the NASCAR world, that's the only thing I know to compare it to. And it's like, okay, yeah, L1 penalty, move on. And like for that side of the world, it's very mundane and kind of normal. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, whether your name's Penske or any other name. That's my perspective on it. But yeah, it's just been kind of wild to see the avalanche of response from the teams, from the drivers, from the fans, and watch it kind of snowball into this giant thing. For me, though, as someone who's more of a casual observer, not making 7-minute TikTok videos on it, because I'm watching the 7-minute TikTok video to get the information. Like, I think they're at a perfect place as the casual observer. You know, come Sunday, if they win the race, yeah, that won't look so hot. But
yeah,
you know, we'll see. But I think where they are now, they put them at the back of the pack, and that's probably, you know, more than what they should have done in terms of, you know.
Well, and you make a good point. Like, coming from oval racing, we know if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. If you guys listen to the Dale Jr. Download, we hear all these stories about cheating and innovation, and like the DW podcast episode was like super funny, like talking all about it. And a lot of times the teams aren't telling their drivers what they're doing to the cars, plausible deniability, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And something I thought of with this too is the villainization of Joseph Newgarden over time. He was like 4 years ago, at least, it was like such a loved driver, fan favorite. And all of a sudden with these cheating scandals and him just stopping his podcast, because I mean, you know, people have lives and they want to change directions. That's totally fine. All of a sudden it's just people hate Joseph Newgarden. And I'm like, we don't know what we don't know. We don't know if the drivers knew anything or not. If it is something like that on these cars, highly doubt they knew anything. Again, don't know them personally, but it's interesting the perception that it's put on the drivers as well. That's been pretty shocking too. Elizabeth Blackstock, she helped write Racing with Rach Energy, which was super cool. She actually did an article talking to Joseph Newgarden fans, or older Joseph Newgarden fans, I believe last year after the first kind of scandal here with Penske, and just kind of talked about his kind of development over time and I guess public perception over time. And I thought it was really interesting to read, so I highly recommend that. But I guess Adam, I guess as Penske fans over here, and then I guess Dom too, wearing a Joseph Newgarden hat. I mean, there we go. There we go. I mean,
it comes in the mail tomorrow.
Yeah, there you go. So there you go. I mean, it's tough as a race fan. And then I think about Alex too.
Oh, look at this.
Oh man,
what is that?
It's a big shot over there.
Yeah.
Hold up.
I'm looking at something really quick.
Casually just reaches up onto that shelf like it's nothing.
Oh gosh,
his car is past inspection.
Yeah, this one did pass.
Let's see if Taylor's passed his inspection.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, see
autograph.
now she's flexing.
I think, Tim Cindric signed this one too.
Oh, he got kicked out.
Yeah.
He's got a cheater's signature.
There we go.
See, I don't have
Newgarden,
but I've got the greatest sponsor in history.
Boom.
Little Target Ganassi action for you.
Well done. Well done.
Greatest sponsor in history until they come out with that Miller High Life diecast from this year.
I don't know.
I'm
saving
a spot for it back here.
Oh.
Closing out the IndyCar discussion, though, at least, we talked to Brent Wentz. This was last week about him potentially pulling the double. So just wanted to say we wish him the best. He actually notified me, this was yesterday, that he's swapping the driver he's spotting for. He was supposed to be working with Devlin DeFrancesco this coming weekend. And instead, Takuma Sato, basically after his qualifying run, was like, hey, can I work with you, Brent? And they made the switch happen. So,
hell yeah.
So that was pretty cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. I mean, to know that he personally was like, I think I want to work with Brent. Like that story there too is really cool. And of course, they together won the Indy 500 a few years back, which was pretty cool as spotter and driver.
Is so freaking fast.
He is. Yes. He's so fast.
His fast 6 run, I was like, he's going to do it again. He's unreal. And just how close he gets to the wall. He uses emphasis on every inch of the racetrack.
Yes.
Worthy 2-time champion.
It's impressive. It's impressive. But yeah, so wish him the best. Be on the lookout for a story on my social media pages tomorrow about that and some additional insight from what he shared from me about the decision for him to kind of swap to a different driver and all that stuff. But let's move on to talking about Formula One. John, this is where I throw it to you. Big storylines. We'll all talk about it. We'll talk about it in the chat too. If you guys have things in the chat you want to talk about, let us know. Use the hashtag AskATYL. But let's talk all about Formula One right now. And of course, looking forward to the Monaco Grand Prix.
Yeah. So the greatest day in motorsports starts in Monaco and Monte Carlo. And this race is going to look a little different. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be the same amount of cars. But they have implemented a new rule that every team has to stop at least twice and use 3 different compounds of tires. So whichever one, it had same thing there. You got to use 3 different compounds, which means you have to stop twice. And they're doing this to try to promote overtaking, to promote action, to promote something versus the top 3 winning every single Monaco GP except for 10 times in the last 75 years. So they're trying to correct that a little bit. Now, the fun thing is that it is supposed to rain on Saturday. Now, I don't know what's that's going to look like for Sunday. It looks like the weather is going to be okay, but it definitely looks like this could throw a little bit of a wrench into things from a strategy perspective. It looks like it should be a typical Monaco weekend, but this big update to the rules, I think, is going to throw it a little bit to the wind a little bit. So, Dom, I'm curious, what are your thoughts on the 2-stop mandatory ruling there? Is that a good thing, a bad thing? How do you perceive that change?
I mean, I get it because it's a street course. You can't widen the racetrack. I get it. I feel like that would have been their only saving grace if they didn't want to do something like this. My personal opinion is, considering knowing that Monaco is supposed to be the crown jewel, that or Silverstone or Monza, being the crown jewel races. But I love Monaco, and I love that they're just trying. They're literally trying everything to make it work. I'm glad that they're not just sitting around and letting 1st through 10th finish how they started without any changes. I'm glad we're trying something. Not saying it's going to change anything, but at least they're trying something. I will at least applaud them for that. But I will hold my criticism until the race is over, and then we can decide. I mean, listen, I'm expecting a perfectly sunny day and Ferrari to do a 2-stop strategy of softs and intermediates. So I think see the F1 fans will get that one. But
it looks like a burn. Looks like a burn.
Yeah,
yeah, it is.
No, I'm glad they're trying something, but who knows if it'll actually change things up. I think this is great though if you're a fan of race strategy, because now like throw the notebook away. We've got to like think of a whole different strategy for this race, and I think that's really cool. It's always fun to see the tense faces on the paddock, to see like Hannah Schmitz with Red Bull, and they're just staring at the screens like, okay, what is McLaren going to do? How are we going to counter what they do? How can we get ahead of what they do? That part of it will be entertaining for sure, but who knows?
Yeah, well, I mean, talking about drivers ahead, Adam, Mr. Max Verstappen got the job done.
The rising of France is coming back.
And I'm curious, what do you take of his win in Imola? Do you think he was faster than Lando? Do you think he could have outpaced Piastri if that VSC didn't come out?
Couple of things. I think he realized he has to be aggressive and go for everything that he can when he can, i.e. at the start of the race. He was able to execute that move pretty smoothly. And I think a lot of what happened was when the McLaren was in the dirty air, they just couldn't catch him. So it was going to be a runaway nonetheless. I think McLaren has one of those cars this year where if they get out, it's very hard to touch either of them. Piastri kind of surprised me. He was not the fastest McLaren. So that was a little bit of a shocker to me. But yeah, it's good times are back. I like being back on top.
I will say we got another world champions highlight out of Verstappen this weekend. That turn 1 pass was it took my breath away. And it's just add it to the resume. It's like, this is why he is one of the best to ever do it. I'm glad he's just continuing to prove his worth.
And being aggressive, like that aggressive and intensity, that's what's going to win you championships. If you're okay with being second, you're not going to be a champion. You have to take everything you get.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
I still think, I will say about the strategy, I still think if you're on pole or starting second, you'd still have the best opportunity at winning at Monaco. I'm not sure the strategy is going to change much of that. We might, I mean, who knows? With qualifying possibly in the rain, that really could have an interesting starting lineup.
It could. Could we see? I mean, who? Just trying to think about this.
Give us an Alonso poll, please.
Alonso poll, Lance Stroll P2.
Wow.
Yes,
one would. Oh, that would.
They would cancel the race.
Oh my goodness, Adrian Newey would just be the happiest camper in the world. Oh my goodness.
Enzo Ferrari would once again be turning in his grave.
Yes, he would. Yes.
I do want to ask, it's the last time that the Monaco Grand Prix race weekend is going to be during the Memorial Day weekend, right? Like, that's not all going to be in the same. Okay. So how are we feeling about that? Is it still going to be the greatest day in motorsports, technically? Yeah?
Well, it still will be, because we might just have a different venue for F1.
Exactly.
This is true. That's true. Okay, fair.
The rumor swirling is it could be a very busy day in North America.
Imagine.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Very, very.
Imagine.
Oh, my God.
Imagine,
said, wow.
imagine doing a triple.
Oh, my God.
Clone yourself at that point.
Yeah.
If it's in America.
On the phone.
You know who I'd love to see try that? SVG.
Oh,
That'd be fun.
The triple?
He would be one who could do it.
I think Max would be the only one that could do it. I don't even know if Mark Body had that shirt on.
Yeah,
Adam is just like, I am the happiest person in the world right now. Talking about Max, talking about Shane.
Look, Busch Light Apple's back in stock. I'm all Red Bulled out. I'm man. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, they literally were like, okay, Indy 500 has a sold out crowd this year. All right, hold my beer. Let's bring the Memorial Day weekend for Formula One to North America, and here we are. So we can see that. You never know.
That'd be crazy.
Very crazy. My goodness. Before we get into the 600 preview, the one thing that I remember about the 600 the past few years is I've always gotten die cast from the track. You all know where this is going.
Here we go.
And I have them displayed. Well, you kind of can't see it right now, so this is on me. But I have my Ryan Blaney one displayed on a custom display from Benzik Designs. But all my other like 4-tier display cases or stands that you see here that are all 3D printed from Benzik Designs. And if you use the promo code ATYL 2025 on either scanning the QR code, which is that's Happy Hour Racing, so I will put up the correct QR code, or if you go to the description for this video and click on that link, type in that promo code and get yourself some diecast stands and get 20% off. Here's the promo code. But yeah, we all love collecting diecast here, and I believe all of us have some stands from Matt Benzik, and they're super reliable, trustworthy. I've gotten other 3D printed display stands before, and this is not to dog on them. I just didn't feel like my diecast were secure. The stands were a little flimsy. Some of the pieces that to put them together broke. These will not break on you. They're phenomenal, very easy to put together. And Matt also has other stands as well, not just for these NASCAR diecasts, but also for IndyCar diecast, Formula One diecast. Like he's creating a 3D printed empire. So make sure to get your 3D printed diecast display stands from Benzik Designs. Again, scan the QR code or go to the link in the description. Use the promo code ATYL 2025 to get 20% off.
He also does 164 scale.
This is true too. This is true, and it's very important for us who have collected all these 164s. Adam, I'm looking at you.
Absolutely.
My goodness.
I do have one quick thing to add to Formula One. I totally forgot to mention this.
Go for
I'm going to read this directly.
Please do.
Do you all hear about the Disney and Formula One collaboration?
Yes. I don't know how to feel about it.
So here's the official statement. Disney's Mickey Mouse is one of the most beloved and recognizable characters. We get that. And fans can look forward to seeing Mickey and friends in F1 through experiences, content, and merchandise around the globe. Around the globe.
I don't like it.
Is this why the FIA tried to sell you this ridiculous notion of cussing over the radio to make this ABC family friendly? Because Disney money is like, it's like God, Jesus, Coca-Cola, Disney, all in a line in terms of who's got it.
Disney's got way more money than Coca-Cola, but
yeah, probably. But it's like, did they really go down that road just to make this partnership a marketable one? It makes my chest hurt.
Oh, I have not thought about that. That's a good point.
That was the first thing. My tinfoil hat was on so tight my eyeballs were ready to pop out of my head. It was rough.
Well, didn't they just dial back on that rule too?
After some pretty serious pushback, I believe they did.
Yeah.
And I think the pushback was Max just one word answering every question, which I love. It's like when they tried to ban jewelry and Lewis wore all of his
watches.
Everything.
Everything. We had like 8 watches.
Yeah.
So I will have to say this to kind of answer that question a little bit about what was the meaning. The CCO of Formula One said that the collaboration fits perfectly with our strategy to step outside of the world of sport into a broader consumer market, and in return, we're introducing Disney to our 820 million fans worldwide. It's a fantastic match, as both brands are known for pushing boundaries and bringing entertainment and excitement to millions. So
sounds like a great PR piece. Their PR people did a great job writing that.
It's fantastic.
You know that one, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It was ChatGPT 4.0.
I just think about like AFV whenever I think about Disney partnerships. I think of like Tom Bergeron just being like in the winner of AFV and like the Disney vacation is, and then it's just, that's what I think about with Disney partnerships now. And so like I can't take it seriously. Like I'm sure there'll be great merch and like I guess cool experiences. I don't know what the hell that is, but like sure. Why not?
I mean, they did the Peanuts merch.
What if we end up getting like Dancing with the F1 stars?
Oh God.
I mean, honestly,
No.
I think I'd be intrigued to watching that.
That would be interesting.
Would be.
Okay, which well, we've had a Formula One driver on, right? Before on Dancing
We
with
had
the Stars.
Elio, the IndyCar guy.
Okay, Elio. There we go. They have Elio.
Michael Waltrip too.
Yeah, we choose to forget about that
which was forgettable.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What Formula One driver do we want to see in Dancing with the Stars? So we have to pick just one.
I want to see Yuki Tsunoda.
Would be awesome.
I just want to see Yuki just because of the size discrepancy. But
oh my God.
I think the most realistic answer is Ricardo.
Yeah.
Got the time for it right now.
This is true.
Yeah.
Man.
If it happens, you have to acknowledge that we started this.
We started this.
We
did it.
ATYL
my royalty checks.
Yeah, we need to get royalty.
Done it again.
We did it. Boom.
Just giving away these great ideas for free to Disney. Unreal.
We can solve all the world's problems, but nobody can look for the answers.
This group right here. We're going to solve everything.
So see, Sal, now we need a reel about how the Disney partnership could turn into a whole Dancing with the Stars thing.
That would be wild. I don't know if I'm the right person to talk about Dancing with the Stars because I haven't watched that since, oh my God, I don't even know. It's been about 10 years since I've watched Dancing with the Stars. So I didn't even know Michael Waltrip was on it. That must have been like watching a duck with a blindfold on. I love Michael Waltrip, but he's just a goofy guy. He's just a goofy dude.
Clip. That is being clipped. That is being shared. We're sending that to him.
I mean, as evident by the All-Star race, huh?
I mean, that caution flag goes flying out of his hand. It just like the jacket he had on was too small. All I can see in my head is Michael Waltrip from like dress as he was dressed, dancing. Like my brain can't do that.
Did y'all see he was on the flag stand? Right up against the racing, no ear molds in, no hearing protection.
Yeah,
nothing.
Guys take chances, I'll tell you.
My gosh,
wow.
What a guy!
Legend.
Yeah, that was something I can't believe we didn't mention when we talked about the promoter's caution. But we'll move on from that. We're just gonna pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Let's try to pretend it didn't.
Maybe it was intentional.
That I heard that there's some people who believe that very wholeheartedly that he deliberately let it go.
It's the last funny haha of the NASCAR on Fox season, but was it really funny haha though? I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Most of it wasn't.
It was very kitschy and very embarrassing.
Yeah. But on a positive, we're now with Prime for at least 5 races. We're in the streaming portion of our schedule. Then of course move into the NBC portion of the schedule. So I guess very bluntly, we're moving up. We're excited. So again, love my friends at Fox, but man. So anywho, with that said too, before we get into our 600 preview, news today about the 2026 Hall of Fame class. The voting happened today, and the those who were inducted were picked or voted on, and they were Kurt Busch, first year on the ballot, which is pretty cool for him. Harry Gant, Ray Hendrick, and Humpy Wheeler receiving the Landmark Award. I think for me, as pretty strong class, I think I voted Banjo Matthews for the Pioneer ballot, but otherwise, I mean, still, Ray Hendrick, I mean, come on. Like, I think a solid class. I mean, talk about Kurt real quick, though. Like, man, I mean, Dom, I was going to say, Dom, you've got a diecast behind you here.
The man.
Not a diecast, the diecast.
The diecast.
That's the Kurt Busch.
I think part of me was like, are we going to get a Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson situation where the polarizing character that was Kurt Busch is going to keep him out of the hall for longer than he deserves to be waiting? I'm glad he went in first ballot, but I was interested to see if he was going to be first ballot or if they were going to intentionally hold off on him because of his past.
I was curious.
But I'm glad that they stuck to the numbers. And
listen, I'll be your tinfoil hat guy. When I was down there last month, they had replaced in the Hall of Fame all of Jimmy Johnson's fire suits with Kurt Busch's. Like it was like a special exhibit for Kurt Busch. And when it was like, oh, Kurt Busch is on the ballot for the Hall of Fame, it was like, yeah, absolutely. He's going to get voted in. It felt like that's what it felt like. It felt like it was a homecoming for Kurt Busch. I don't know. There was never a doubt. I feel like,
I have some more tinfoil hat theories.
Oh, please.
Yes,
bring it on.
Adam. Don't
All
let
right.
me be the only one.
Do
Oh
it.
no, this one. Let's turn the clocks back. Pocono 2022. Kurt's last
The
qualifying.
wreck.
Oh, yeah.
This might be NASCAR's way of saying, "Hey, sorry your career ended. Here's a Hall of Fame for you."
See, I thought about that too as well.
Because I got my hat on.
But I also think the accomplishments, though.
If you look at the proof in the pudding, it is there. One of the best young rising truck series stars of our time. Didn't really do Busch, so I can't say much about that. Although when he did do the Busch series, he was on fire. he I think he was batting almost 1,000 through the entire, was it 2005 season in the 39 Penske Rental Dodge. Anyway, yeah, hell of a career. Yeah, track record proves.
Yeah, I mean, 2004 Nextel Cup champion, 2017 Daytona 500 champion, had one win every year from 2014 to 2022. You can't keep him. You can't keep him out that long. Especially, I think the champion part and the Daytona 500 part alone. We don't have many of those guys on the ballot left, so I think that's just the automatic bid at this point.
Do we have a favorite Kurt Busch moment? I know this is like easy to talk about for Kurt as opposed to the other guys because we watched Kurt race, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, I feel like
you know what?
I need to get a
do have
diecast for a second.
moment.
Adam, go for it.
It goes back to one of his first starts, 2001 Daytona 500. Earnhardt gave him the finger out the window, driving down the front stretch. That was kind of his, hey buddy, welcome, hey rookie, welcome to the big league moment. Yeah. So senior flipping him off, that was pretty cool.
I honestly think, for me, it's probably Kentucky 2019. I think just the way that I think just that race. I mean, obviously, I've seen him win a ton of times, but
Battle of the Brothers,
that or his 500 win, are my two favorites. Obviously, I love thinking about him and Jimmy in 2011, where Jimmy was finally like, "You don't talk to the champ that way." It was cool to see Jimmy Johnson actually show emotion for the first time.
Yeah.
And, that was a fun rivalry. But yeah, I would say for sure the Kentucky 2019.
That was my last race at Kentucky Speedway. Because I'd gone there 2 years prior. So 2017, 2018, 2019. And my first race ever was at Kentucky Speedway. So it's a special track to me. Product kind of sucks, but special track nonetheless. And I remember like that race, it was pretty boring. And then you got to the end and you're like, oh my God, if Kurt Busch can do it, he will be everyone's hero. And the crowd erupted. My head hurt. I was screaming my head off. But the celebration to follow, where they were just on top of the car, like rolling it down, like it was so cool. Favorite moment for sure. Sal?
I have kind of an off the wall one.
I'm here for it.
Maybe an unpopular one, but 2022 Kansas, him winning that first race for 2311. There's a special place for me, that car. That elephant print car. I went out and bought the shoes after he won the race. Of course, Taylor has the diecast. I love that. That thing is absolutely one of the best looking race cars that's ever been put on track. It's, I don't know, that's one man's opinion, but that car is unreal. But him winning that race and getting 2311's kind of I don't know, getting a new era started with that new team felt like something special. And, you know, him ultimately then having to pass the torch on in that 45 was kind of an emotional deal. That would, I think, end up being his last win, right? In Kansas.
It was his final win.
So a special one for him, for sure.
Yeah.
Plus the crash outs he used to have on the radio. Those were fun too. But we'll save those for another time.
Oh yeah.
The ultimate radio sweetheart.
Oh, it must be a hereditary trait, because the two of them are just out of control when they get going.
Oh yeah. John?
I'm going to second that because of the fact that was Jordan Brand's first win in NASCAR. I have Tyler Reddick's win from Talladega, his car right here, and seeing those cars win it's such a surreal moment because my grandfather was a huge Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls fan, and seeing that come together with a sport that he made fun of me watching of when I was a little kid is like, not like a very nice number one up to my grandfather right there. He'd probably give it back, but it's so cool just to see that world mesh and see that car in victory lane. Taylor, I want that, by the way. So if you're ever wanting to sell that, I will put in an offer.
Okay, I'll think about it.
You've got an investment there, Taylor, because I immediately Googled what they're selling for right now, and it's definitely more than whatever Lionel is selling them for.
Yeah, because I pre-ordered this one. This one was one I'm like, I got it, because I instinctually was like, what if this is his last win? It's a Jordan car. How cool is that? Because I was also like, what if it doesn't get made? So as soon as I saw pre-order, I'm like, we better make it happen.
I think me and Dom bullied her into pre-ordering that one.
You did, and I'm so thankful for it.
I've only ever pre-ordered one car ever, and it's the Denny 600 car. And I'm glad I did, because that thing shot up in price too.
Thank God we did.
And I pre-ordered that the night of the race, didn't I?
You did.
Like right after the race.
Yeah, we both did. Yeah, we take our diecast collecting very seriously.
The notification said, "Here we go."
Yeah,
take it.
Honestly. So, anywho,
congrats, Kurt.
Congrats, Kurt.
Congrats.
Awesome. Yeah, I was happy to see that. Yeah, no, awesome for Humpy Wheeler. I mean, again, this is a really good class. I think. I mean, just looking through and all their accomplishments, I think it's a great class. So congrats to all of them. I did want to read real quick before we kind of close things out with the 600 recap, some of these statistical breakdown for this. So Busch and Gant received 61% of the modern era ballot votes. Jeff Burton finished third, followed by Harry Hyde, Randy Dorton. Ray Hendrick received 31% of the Pioneer ballot votes, with Bob Wellborn finishing second. The results of the fan vote were Ray Hendrick, Kurt Busch, and Harry Gant. So the fans were pretty spot on, which is pretty neat there. And I think that's all the stats that I wanted to
Taylor,
share.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention we have ARCA Menard Series legend Brayton Laster in the chat right now.
Let's go! Let's go! Brayton, we're going to see you at the race Friday.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. We're going to try to make it to the autograph session, I think.
I might not remember seeing you, but I'll see you.
It is ARCA and Truck Night in America, folks. No, we are hyped.
Boy.
This is the one race this year I'm going to as a fan. So I'm looking forward to it every year. It's such a fun one to go to. If you've never been to the 600, highly recommend. But it all starts on Friday. Very excited for that one. Shout out to Brayton. Good to see you in the chat. But storylines, at least for this weekend, again, we talked about Prime. Everything's going on to Prime for 5 races. I'm very excited about that now. I know those of us that'll maybe be at the track on Sunday won't really get to see the first race on Prime. We'll have to watch it back, but I will make sure to watch it back because I really want to give my thoughts on that. But you guys let me know too, also in the chat. Comment on Twitter, tag me and stuff. Let me know how it is. Other thing too is Jimmy Johnson making his 700th start, talking about legends in the sport and Hall of Famers. Pretty exciting there too. And then a side note here, I think Sal, a driver you're a fan of, Derek Kraus, back in Cup.
Back in Cup, New York Racing 44.
Yeah.
Yes, he will be back for the Coke 600 weekend.
That to come back to Cup and with that race, pretty wild.
Interesting decision.
Very interesting.
I don't know a ton about how those decisions get made, but I mean, anytime you can get a chance to jump in the car and get your way onto the track, it's always good. So it'll be interesting to see what they can put together. That whole New York Racing team, they work really hard, and it's they only run a handful a year, so we'll see what happens. You're talking about Truck Night in America, though. There is one driver in particular that I would be remiss if I did not mention is coming back to run in the Truck Series right now at Charlotte at Coke 600 weekend. It is none other than Mr. BJ McLeod, ladies and gentlemen. We will be getting loud for McLeod right here, screaming at the television. I hope you're just as loud for McLeod out there, 9 or 10 or 30 bush lights deep. I really want to see that 07 parked somewhere near Victory Lane. It's not people. I made a little video about it. People are like, oh, it's going to be great to watch him hit the wall, and I'm like, you better shut your mouth. I don't know. I'm coming with fangs this time, because this is the hokey pokey ride that he's in. He's ready to get in there. So we'll see what BJ can do with this one.
Listen, if he's in second place with 2 to go and he can't catch the leader, I'll make sure there's a caution.
There's a man on the track, ladies and gentlemen,
in a Ferrari shirt. What is this?
Out there. There'll be debris.
Oh man, yeah, debris on the track.
Yeah. Oh no.
Where's
we might have to chuck a 124 out on the track for that caution.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything for a BJW. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my heart would be so full. Nothing. That would be a top moment for sure.
Mhm.
Oh, now you got me thinking. What are his odds?
Oh.
I'm not going to talk about it though. We'll save that for later. I'm just doing it for my own.
These are Aspire trucks. That is it.
You send me a message on that. Send me a message on that, John. Let's cook.
I got you. I got you, Sal. We'll do this, buddy.
Yeah. So I guess that's who we're pulling for on Friday.
Yes.
So we'll see. But yeah, I'm very excited for this race weekend. Again, I look forward to it. I also look forward to traveling through the tents at the track to see what fun diecast we can find. But this truly is such a fun weekend of racing altogether. If you're going to be at the track, say hey if you see us. If not, enjoy your time, drink a Busch Light, party. That's all I got for you. But
also, if you do come to see us while we're in the tents, bring body armor because we will definitely need some sort of hydration.
Body armor.
Yes. Yeah.
Liquid IVs.
I had a Liquid IV in here earlier. Man, not a sponsor, but love Liquid IV.
Actually, hey, look, any type of hydration thing.
Yeah.
Need it.
Honestly. Yeah. It'll be tough, but we'll manage. We'll be fine. Tom with another promoter's caution.
Dom taking the promoter's cautions into his own hands.
Oh yeah.
If you're looking for me on Friday night, you can find me up against the fence during the race, just holding this up.
Oh my god!
It's gonna be so fun.
Get the message. I'm trying to grow our reach. All right.
Yes, but you know what? I respect that. I appreciate that.
For the brand.
I have a passionate movement.
For the brand.
On that note, I want to point you guys to some of our latest content in case you haven't seen it yet. Also, I guess for this too, sign up for our newsletter. If you go to abovetheline.com, you'll reach a section that says sign up for our newsletter, and it lets you know every time we drop new content, any deals from our partners, things like that. I know it's like old school for a newsletter, but like, trust me, it'll keep you in the know. So we have, I created a video literally yesterday talking about the buying merchandise to get an autograph for a driver. It's not new, you guys. And some of you all acted like it was new. And I'm like, that's crazy. So let's talk about it. So we're talking about it here, some alternatives of how to meet your favorite driver, things like that. So make sure to watch that video. Of course, we have a new 4 laps with Alex out as well. We have John's new video out as well as of this evening at 6, and then we have our new show debut, Nitro Nation Big Duke's NHRA show. We're also just floored by the support from NHRA about the show and helping us bring guests on. It's been such a cool thing that we're building with them, and just awesome to see the show kind of come together with the first episode with V-Ron Caps. What a first episode! What a flex!
Tough to top after you talk to Ron Caps, right?
Yeah, no, it's a really good conversation. Duke did a great job with it. So give all the love and support to that new show. Alex, thank you so much. Larson is going to sweep the double. Ooh, here we go. That's a prediction right there.
Big claims
boy.
Right there.
Well, I hate to rain on your parade.
But raining? Literally, are you going to rain on the parade?
That might be a literal statement. Yes, that might be some rain involved.
Not again.
It's not looking good. I hate to be that guy, but
the Indy pill or the cup pill, you have to choose.
Gosh.
Now we're back to
they made him choose this year. He doesn't have a choice this year.
Yeah.
I just hope the weather at least does something to where it just all works out and it's all fine.
Has Hendrick like finally invented a weather machine? Is that the next step of this?
Well, they have the new Hexagon lab. They have a secret part in that Hexagon lab where it is a weather machine, actually.
Right. Exactly. Is that they're working on that behind the closed doors and the fog machines and everything? They don't want anybody to see what's going on.
Yeah. We've debunked it right here.
Before we depart, so if Larson has to get pulled, TK goes in. What happens if TK wins?
That'd be crazy.
Oh my goodness.
I want that.
Who gets the win? Is it still Larson? Man.
Penon crossed the line.
Yeah. Whoever's driving it at the end, right? I feel like that's the answer.
That should
I think
be
that's
it.
who it should be.
Unless it's Cars 3, then that theory is debunked, but that's Cars 3 for you.
Yeah.
Nobody got the reference.
More
That's
tin
okay.
hat stuff for you to think about, kids.
Go to bed, Taylor.
On that note, we're going to close it out for the night. Thank you all so much for tuning in, joining us on the show. Of course, a big thank you to our partners on brand, Benzik Designs, Happy Hour Racing, The Bright Mentality, and Go Locker Racing, which, by the way, Go Locker Racing, they're going to have a group of veterans at the track this weekend, actually at the Indy 500 and at the Coca-Cola 600. So if you see their group, say hey and thank you for their service. But this has been such a fun show, you guys. Thank you all for tuning in, joining us for the chaos tonight, talking about the biggest weekend of motorsports. We're going to have great coverage for you all weekend long from the fan perspective at the track. And then, of course, we have a lot of content coming to you next week about all of it. So thank you all so much for tuning in. For myself in the ATYL Media team, love the water bottle, by the way, Adam. That's awesome.